Howdy! Today, my PSA group, including myself, Janie, and Christopher, want to address the dangers of being followed in hopes to bring awareness to this issue and also to provide young adults and college students with the information and steps they need to protect themselves. This topic is definitely worth addressing because it is a serious and very dangerous matter that is sadly happening more often around the world. So I want to provide a little information and background of what you can do to stay safe. So I have here a poster that I made with do's, don'ts, facts, and how to notice if you are being followed. So the first one I have are do's. The first do that is very important is you want to stay alert. Always check your surroundings before you go anywhere. Make sure there's no one where you are. If you're alone, always check. The next one is keep your phone handy. If you notice that someone is following you, give a text to a family member, call somebody. The next one is it's very important to keep your location on, so whenever you are in danger, someone knows where you are and they know where to find you. The next one is go to a public place or the police. If you're driving or you're walking, those are very important places to stop. The next one, if you're really in danger and you know someone is following you, call 911 first. If not, call a family member and tell them where you are. The next one is to stay calm. Always stay calm no matter what the situation. The next one is your don'ts. You don't want to go anywhere at night by yourself. If you are, you want to take a friend with you, someone with you to make sure that you are both okay. Don't talk to strangers unless you have somebody with you. It's always good to have a friend. Also, if you are going to stop when someone is going to be followed, do not stop in a secluded area where there's no one around. You want to stop at a public place where there's a lot of people around and you can alert them of the danger you're in. The next one is do not go home. This is very important because if your follower follows you home, they will know where you live, they will find out who your family members are, and this could be even more dangerous. The last one is you don't want to get distracted. So if you're coming out of studying and you're on your phone at night, you won't know your surroundings. So it's always good to just be alert of your surroundings, who's there, where you're at. It's very important. I have some facts here that are important to this topic. So the first one is 1 in 4 women and 1 in 13 men are victims of stalking or following in their lifetime. Obviously, women are more in danger of being followed than men, but men are still victims of this crime. The last one is kidnapping and stalking is definitely a crime in all 50 states. And then this is probably the most important, how to notice a follower. So the first one is if you sense that you are being followed, whether you're walking or you're driving, you want to make at least 4 or more constant turns. And if they are following you, you need to alert somebody. The next one is notice if it is an old partner, an old friend, or someone that you knew in your past. That can really help. The next one is if this person is always at the same place at the same time as you, this will give you the tip that they are your follower, they are stalking you, this is not okay. The next one is if they're wearing dark, suspicious clothes like covering their face, sunglasses, hoodie, if they're acting suspicious, this can give you a tip. So I hope this helps you in the future for all the young adults and all the college students and everyone who needs this. So thank you so much. Now we're going to be talking about the statistics when it comes to being stalked or being followed. There was a representative sample of 1,573 college students who completed an online stalking questionnaire. Over 12% of these students self-identified of having been stalked. 42.5% of these students reported that they have experienced at least one behavioral indicator of stalking victimization. In another group of studies, scientists found that it is much more prevalent that college students are much more stalked than the general public. And 4.3% of these college students have experienced this crime in the last 12 months.
Hey guys, my name is Christopher Rodriguez, and I'm here to talk to you about what to do if you're being followed and how to get out of that scenario and the stats that are involved with it. Okay, so the number one rule would be to first realize if someone is following you, right? Like if you went before you just make any drastic actions, you need to realize, this person is literally following me where I go. In order to do that, you need to notice in the sense that say you see this person, and it's usually someone 3 or 4 times of someone to stalk you. It's usually someone such as a former partner, someone a former intimate partner, something like that, so they know you. And if they know you, they know your route. Usually people have a daily routine, you go to the gym 8, and afterwards you go back home and then go to school, or after to go to eat, and usually in this area, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so if you see that person one time, it may be random, it's random. Twice, it's a coincidence, you know what I'm saying? But 3 times that you could, most of the time you'll be safe in saying, this person knows what they're doing. They know I'm here in this time, and they can't happen to have the exact same thing as me. So that's the first thing. And another notice, if you don't know this person at all, and you probably won't, but most likely you will. And you're in a car, right? So you're just trying to realize how this person is following you. So a good way would be, get in your car and, start driving. Don't speed up. Don't make the acknowledgement that you're being followed. You could take 4 rights. So what I mean by that is at every turn, take a right 4 times. And what that'll lead you, and the person's following you, is to go in a circle. Now, after the 4th right, if the person makes that right and is following behind you, he is following you, as in the fact that that'll be pretty much a circle, like a square. And then why would a person purposely go in a circle if they're not have some following purposes? If you're on foot, a lot of ways would be that the person already knows, like I said, where you're going. And so if you change up that typical path and go somewhere else you don't usually go, then that person could be following you because he's just not going where you're usually going. So if you're on foot, you could do a lot of risky things to get him or her, the follower, to acknowledge that you're being followed, right? So you could make something up. You turn around to tie your shoe, to take a picture of this building or a restaurant. You have to always be in public. You have to be in public because the sexual assault and from stalking, that the percentages drop dramatically if you are to stay in public. And if you're not in public, you need to get your phone out, call the police after you verify someone is following you. And as you're on the phone with someone you trust, or on the police, you have trying your best to walk towards a general public or public transportation, as the sexual assault from public transportation dropped to 0.9% compared to if you're out in the open. It's about 10% most of the time. If you can, don't go at night, but if whatever's going on forces you to, try and stay with a friend, have your location on your phone. And a lot of ways, hopefully it doesn't come down to, but to protect yourself, you can always have a something in your bag or backpack, purse, however you want to go about it. A mace, pepper spray, stuff like that. If you're legal, hand carry gun, but that's a little more not, you really don't want to do that. Just having that on your conscience. It's just some ways to protect yourself.
Does he have any weapons?
Yes.
What does he have? Is it a gun? A knife?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he in the very same room with you?
Over here, trying to get up there.
Is it possible for you to pretend like I'm someone else and stay on the phone with me?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So how are things going?
Oh, pretty good. I don't know. This house that I was thinking of showing you tomorrow, I don't know if it's right.
And I turned around and he's standing behind me with a knife. I wanted him to kill me. I was so tired of living this cat and mouse game.
Gallagher was stalked for over 8 years by a guy she met in high school. And they were in the same class, but she didn't really know him. It was when she actually came home to visit her family during her junior year in college that this horrific ordeal began.
Her former classmate, armed with a knife, breaks into Kathleen's house and waits for her to arrive home. He takes her hostage, but somehow during this horrific ordeal, she figures out a way to tip off the cops who swoop in and apprehend her attacker.
I'm Jamie Beebe.
And I'm Jake Deptula.
On today's episode of Strictly Stalking, we bring you Kathleen Gallagher, who narrowly escaped an attempted kidnapping by her stalker.
Kathleen.
Justice. What you're about to see is a story about a crime that is misunderstood and far too often deadly. Stalking. Peggy Klinke was stalked relentlessly by an ex-boyfriend. If you haven't experienced it, it's very hard to imagine the terror of what it feels like.
It all began in the fall of '98. At the age of 28, my sister Peggy began preparing for medical school in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She met and began dating a man named Patrick Kennedy. You know, in the beginning, it seemed like a very fine relationship to me. They were dating, doing dating things, going to movies, but I noticed a switch in Peggy's personality. Peggy's personality changed over time. I see it as a candle eventually just burning out. Before she met Patrick, she was so bright and shiny and vibrant, but little by little, he just snuffed that flame out. And you did not see that smile like you used to see. You definitely didn't hear her laugh as much. And for the person that was so involved in life with all her fitness, I heard her say, "Life sucks. I hope I'm dead before I'm 40." And that was something that you would have never, ever heard come out of her mouth before she met Patrick.
I would go home for Christmas break, and my family would wonder why I was so sad all the time. And, I couldn't tell them. I couldn't tell them. I didn't have many friends. It was hard to make friends with what was going on in my life. It was hard to go out.
My girlfriends would call and say, "Have you eaten today? When's the last time you ate? When's the last time you slept?" Because you just lose control of all of your thought process and your normal daily functions.